Hey, y'all, come on in. It's a sunny day. We're sweeping the clouds away.
Can you tell me how to get to Sunny Lane with Barrister and Mann?
It's a beautiful morning with the Barbershop Duet.
Hi, I'm Marcus Klinger with Klinger Vocal Studio.
And I'm Sarah Vincent with Sarah Vincent Virtual Pilates.
But on Wednesdays and Saturdays,
we are the Barbershop Duet.
Hey, y'all, come on in. Thank you for finding our little barbershop. If you happen to be here during one of the live premieres on YouTube, why, come on in the live chat, meet the Whiff Pack, a cool group of friends hanging out from all over the world. They'd love to meet you too.
They would. And for our mention today, we wanted to talk about the return of the Apple Waffle Sterling Soap Bar from the sales page. There's so much warmth and comfort in this seasonal scent. Crisp apples blend together with rich, buttery, syrupy notes, while aromatic spices give the scent depth.
And I know what you're thinking. How close is this to the sweet apple bar that you might have picked up a couple of months ago from Sterling Soap? Well, for me, they're a little bit different. How do you get them?
You know, the apple waffle has a little more of the crisp side, maybe more like an apple butter. And then this one, to me, has a sweet finish that's kind of like a powdery sugar sweet at the end.
I don't really get a traditional waffle sense in here. Almost just like a burnt sugar and even kind of a greeny note in here.
And I gotta say, if you're fans of apple, there's also the hot apple cider. So add in a bunch of cinnamon and warmth, and you've got this one.
It's an apple kind of fall at Sterling Soap Company. And what is our soap today?
Our soap today is Sunny Lane. And I have to be honest, when we first got into this, we kept seeing this label go by, and we were sad that we missed it. But don't you worry, it is back, and we are excited to meet it.
All right, y'all, from the sales page at barristerandmann.com.
Note, we have decided to rework the original Sunny Lane fragrance profile to make it softer and a little fruitier, less strikingly green and less astringent. The new version is extremely smooth and wearable, and we hope you love it.
At Barrister and Mann, we believe in quality children's television. Captain Kangaroo, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Sesame Street, Wishbone, and Fraggle Rock, along with many others, represent the kind of educational special programming that's made by people who genuinely care about children and their development. Mr. Rogers' testimony before the Congressional Subcommittee on Communication, during which time he famously saved PBS's funding in less than 7 minutes, represents one of the most notable actions by anyone in modern television. In fact, the senator that Mr. Rogers had to win over was notorious for being an incredible curmudgeon, and they were like, this is a fool's journey. And y'all, this is what he had to say when it was over.
I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. And I feel that if we in public television can only make it clear that feelings are mentionable and manageable, we will have done a great service for mental health.
I'm supposed to be a pretty tough guy, and this is the first time I've had goosebumps for the last 2 days.
Well, I'm grateful not only for your goosebumps, but for your interest in our kind of communication.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Looks like you just earned the $20 million.
I'm so glad we'll mention that on this sales page. Bob Keeshan, better known as Captain Kangaroo, campaigned against violent television and video games on the grounds that such things were unhealthy. While we now know that was mistaken, his heart was in the right place. These were people who cared about the children and their well-being. They wanted to help.
That kind of purity of vision is becoming less common today, and we felt it's high time that we pay tribute to these pioneers. As such, Barrister and Mann is proud to introduce Sunny Lane, a peppery green, sparklingly fresh combination of bergamot, vetiver, sweet clover, and oak moss that's reminiscent of childhood playtime in your backyard. Perfectly suited to the early springtime, or almost all year in California, Sunny Lane is a charming, whimsical way to start or end your day with a smile.
For each jar or bottle of Sunny Lane we sell, we will donate a portion of the proceeds to Sesame Workshop, which has been making Sesame Street and other quality children's television for nearly 60 years. Well, as a child of the 1970s, television absolutely raised me. Every Sunday morning on KQED Channel 9, Sesame Street, beginning at 7 a.m., would have a triple header. 3 one-hour episodes back to back to back. And I have vivid memories of my mom waking me up every Sunday super early with a bowl of cereal and plunking me down in front of my friends. I used to proclaim that Maria was my girlfriend at the age of 3. And the children's television workshop had an enormous effect on me. In fact, in college, I wrote to Mr. Rogers a 1-page letter about how much the jazz music on his show had helped turn me into a musician. And Fred Rogers wrote me back a 2-page letter, hand-typed on his little typewriter, and on the back, the pre-printed signature had been scratched out, and he wrote, "Your friend, Fred Rogers." It was the first celebrity I ever really kind of brushed up against like that. And it was a reminder to occasionally meet your heroes if you can. In fact, it's probably why we do our show in front of a piano. So thank you, Children's Television Workshop, and thank you, Will and Paula at Barrister and Mann. Let's open the box. From Montana. This is the first package from the new distributors for Barrister and Mann. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. We also have Leviathan coming. While the new distribution facility does not allow for handwritten notes, I'm just going to make one up. Dear Marcus, you're the coolest person I ever met. Sarah's so pretty. I don't know how you ever landed her. And the horse you rode in on. Love, Will. Thank you, buddy. All right, here is what you have come to see today. And wait until you see this beautiful, nostalgic label with the Cookie Monster eyes hanging out there.
Oh, and then in the back, the yellow is all the Big Bird feathers.
Are you kidding?
No, put your glasses on.
Oh! Way too much of my childhood was wrapped up in Sesame Street. Y'all, my mom and dad used to take me to see Sesame Street live on stage at the Oakland Coliseum. And one day, my dad went up to the stage and got one of Big Bird's feathers for me that had fallen out. And we took it home. And I cherished it until I lost it. And I'd be in my 30s before I'd hold my first real Sesame Street Muppet. But we'll tell you about that when we have our first impression. I'm nervous. Vetiver, oak moss. This is not going to be the Fruit Loops kiddo sense that I'm thinking it's going to be. This is going to be kind of bridging the gap, I think, between the grown-up and the child. So why don't you go first and let me know what I'm in for. Oh, I love the little barriers. So, you know, yours is the first schnoz digging into this soap.
I just want to spend time with it. It's so darn cute.
I want a poster of this label for our bathroom, Will.
Maybe a t-shirt?
All right.
Okay.
Take it in. Let's look at that beautiful, smooth Barrister and Mann pour.
Okay.
And y'all, I have recently proclaimed this to be my favorite base in the wet shaving world. It took a few years to make up my mind, but my B&M shaves are amazing.
Okay, I'm being brave.
All right, be brave. Take it in. See what you get. Are you on Sesame Street? Are you whisked away?
I'm seeing bright colors, that's for sure.
Ah.
You're going to be okay. The oak moss vetiver is at the very, very back of my whip. Okay. I am being brought in more with the sweet clover kind of side, which I didn't realize I kind of knew what that smelled like until smelling it here. Right. But it doesn't quite go like fruity or floral necessarily. Somehow it rides that line of being green still, but it kind of has like a light peppery clean to it somehow. And then that takes me into the bergamot. But it's a different way of using bergamot. Sometimes that goes almost gourmandy, like super sweet. I'm picturing more the freaky lime visual, so that's where the green is actually starting to come in for me. The vetiver hit isn't too crazy. Like, I'm outside, and it does feel like springtime, but I'm not laying in the grass, if that makes sense.
Most of Sesame Street was shot outside, right? Even Big Bird's house was technically outside.
Right, they were all on the stoops of the places, like they were outdoors.
Remember when Mr. Hooper died, y'all? If you're old enough, that hit hard because they didn't shield it from us. When that happened, when the real actor passed, they were like, oh my God, how do we deal with this with the kids? And they all realized, well, the kids are going to have to deal with this stuff too. So why don't we be really, really honest and have an episode where Big Bird is sad that Mr. Hooper died? Y'all, I thought of that episode when I had to deal with my mama dying 40 years later. Sesame Street's really important.
There's a fun start your day with bright, kind of sunny lane colors coming through. Like, I don't even think if I needed this label to take it, if I just took a whiff of this, I would get that bright, fun start to the day. Like the sun is way up and you need your sunglasses and good things are coming. Like that little kid excitement, almost like when it's the first day of summer. You're like, there's so many things to do. What do I do first? That's coming through. Like my inner kid does enjoy this scent. So I think the sweet clover into the bergamot is what that part of me is getting. And then as it goes, the end of the whiff, it doesn't ever go dark, but it does get a little more real. And that must be where it kind of hits the vetiver. Gentle oak moss. But if you think about it, oak moss is used in a lot of aftershave. So there's something in it that just has that kind of clean, not quite dapper, but like you put time into getting ready that morning. It is the least amount of gourmandy bergamot. Like usually my brain takes that and then it keeps diving into more of the lemony side of it or the lime side of it somehow, but I'm not even getting like a lime popsicle. It's really like a real kind of fresh crispness that's kind of like cool in the morning kind of coming through maybe. Right. I'm almost more curious to get what the original smelt like and put it next to this one to see what they did to change it, because this is our first way of getting our noses on it. Right. But to me, I wouldn't be hit with that super green kind of astringency side that they were mentioning.
Right. That was my question. How much clover do you get?
You know, I didn't know I knew clover, but that's got to be like the whole first almost 50% of my whiff, I would say.
Good. Yeah. Somehow clover and childhood go hand in hand for me. Maybe it's lying on the grass on a summer day looking for 4-leaf clovers kind of thing. Who knows?
But I didn't know I knew that had a scent to it until I smelled it here. Like I knew it wasn't a floral and I knew it wasn't quite a vetiver. Like it had to be something else, and that's got to be it. It's very different than backyard that we have from Shave Mercantile. Right. To me, that is more like I'm on the grass playing outside. This just has more I'm sitting on the stoop. I'm not actually sitting on the grass, but I am outside. Okay, I think you're all clear. I kind of want to see what your nose says, though.
I am excited. Here we go. Sunny Lane, tell me how to go. Well, this is like bergamot, and then it seamlessly becomes a beautiful subdued spearmint for me under the surface. So green, but not rose stemmy green. Oh, y'all, this is stunning. Hold on. Well, you know, Sesame Street's an hour long. Y'all, this takes a big old long whiff to get to find all the nooks and crannies at the end. And then just as your nose is figuring out how the bergamot became such a perfect spearmint, it shifts again and it drops you down into the vetiver, and you can tell you're not done with this slide yet. And you know, my nose keeps searching for something dark or mysterious, like the B&M Mystique or something else that my nose is going to land on. But all it's finding is a beautiful, warm, soft bed of clover that I go thump, and that's where I can look back up and admire the rest of these scent notes. What a journey this is.
I think it's good they put sweet clover because it's naturally sweet. It's nothing gourmandy, but it is subtly sweet.
And I'm glad you said that, because on a scale of 1 to 10, on a sweetness scale, this is probably only a 3.
Yeah.
For me, 3.5. It's just the very natural parts of the clover, of the vetiver, of the bergamot that are offering a sweet without anybody having to add any packs of sugar. You know what I mean? Well, which is important, because when I'm buying this, I'm not sure if it belongs in the Fruity Hoops Saturday morning lane of things, which is definitely whimsical and childish and sweet to the hilt, or if it's a little bit more of a truly constructed childhood memory, reminiscent of the actual things you might have smelled, evoking the actual emotions you might have had. That is the level of care that's been put into this. Wow. And the clover's subtle. The thing is, the entire ride down is the journey. The clover is just a landing pad, maybe 10, 20% of this. The rest of it is that beautiful bergamot into the mint that's not even on the sales page that I am getting into the vetiver.
Did you say anything about the oak moss yet?
Nope. You know why? Didn't even hit my radar, y'all, so I can tell why it's being used. It's on the bottom. I guess it's like the earth that the clover is growing out of, but it's so subtle. I didn't even get it.
Yep.
Well, I think it's there to help inform your nose that any sweetness you're going to find in here is not done with sugars. It's done with real things. It's done with yellow things, green things.
All right, so we just did Monstroso, which is pretty green.
Right.
But I don't know if I would put these necessarily side by side at all.
This has more charm. This is meant to be more of a crowd pleaser. Monstroso is meant to be more of an exploration of everything beautiful that dirty vetiver can be, almost turning dirty vetiver back clean again, especially with the addition of a couple little fruits. But this is different. This is meant to give you a friendly feel. This is meant to remind you of those mornings when you were watching Sesame Street and the only thing you had to worry about that day was coming home before the streetlights went out. And why is the bergamot so frickin' charming? This is a shaving soap show. We do bergamot 9 days a week. Why is this one so beautiful and yet so absolutely bergamot?
Like, I can see the real skin of the bergamot somehow. Like, almost like if someone was to make a fine drink and they just scrape a little part of that on top. There's some about that coming through.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Look at my face. If bergamot were in Fruit Loops, That's what they'd have to do to the bergamot. It's just got a slight candiness to it, a slight youthening of the bergamot scent.
There's still something raw about it too, though. Like, it's not quite just the cartoon version. It's still real.
Maybe I'm just searching for cartoons. Well, why don't we take this a little bit deeper and build you a lather? All right, y'all, back to the sales page at barristerandmann.com. We start with
A peppery green, sparklingly fresh combination of bergamot, vetiver, sweet clover, and oak moss. That's reminiscent of a childhood playtime in your backyard.
Now, how do you think I'm getting a sense of a little bit of spearmint under the surface of this?
Right.
What's making it? I think somewhere between the bergamot and the clover, maybe even a little bit of the sweet of the oak moss in there, but I am sensing it giant in the middle between the bergamot and the vetiver.
I think my brain is interpreting it as more of a crisp kind of side, like a brightness, but I get why it's going that way for you. To me, the sweet clover brings me in. Then I get the bergamot. Then I get vetiver into oak moss. So that's the order my whiff takes.
You get the clover first?
I think so.
Wow, hold on. No, I open this and it goes, bergamot! And then way in the back row is this little guy that's like, hi, I'm Clover.
I think my parents' grass in front of their house had clover in it, so maybe my brain is just programmed to be like, oh, I know that. But we could see what happens after we lather. That could totally change things.
That's true. Things come out and change places a little bit.
My brain wants there to be a lemon because I see the cover and it's super yellow, but somehow I know it's not quite in there.
Right. Well, I think that's why bergamot is so ubiquitous in the shave soap world, is it can stand in for a lot of different citruses. And y'all, of course, I had to get my Saturday morning sprinkles bowl from Haley's Artisan to build this lather. This always makes me think of my Sesame Street weekends. And then I'm going to destroy this pour with one of my bougie sticks here, bring out just about an almond size of the soap, nothing too crazy. And if you do have this bowl from Haley's Artisan, push the soap into the big old ruts at the bottom of the bowl, not into the honeycomb pattern on the sides. You're going to use that later. So this bowl is a little bit different, not making a thin plane of soap, just pushing it into those ruts. Hitting it with a little water from our Sean and Julie sprayer. Thanks, you guys. Now, Craig at Opus Brush made my favorite shaving brush in the whole world, and luckily I bought it. This is the Brady Bunch inspired Vincent Price Tiki shaving brush from Opus Brushworks with the Badger knot, which Craig forbids me to soak before I make the lathers. I know, please address your complaints to Craig at Opus Brush. So I'm going to take these dry Badger bristles and just let them get a little bit wet from that ancillary moisture in the bowl, but mostly I'm just going to start transferring that soap up onto these bristles. It's the Manchurian knot, I believe, and I think it is my favorite Badger knot to date, but stay tuned because my beloved wife here might have grabbed me a new shaving brush for my birthday with a Fanchurian knot on it, and that brush maker, whose initials are GB, might have also sent us a second brush to do a giveaway for y'all in December. And y'all, how do you know when you're about ready for your first pass? Why, it looks like there's milk in your cereal bowl.
That knot is full too, look at it.
And it's a Badger. And this is something you will only find here in the Barbershop Duet. This is the Who Put the Oak in My Moss with 1, 3, 1, 2. Oh, this is definitely spread out by at least another half. I'm getting some stuff in between those set notes from here.
Okay, interesting too, because the oak mossiness in there, I feel like at the end almost created a little bit more of like, not quite asphalt, but I was in more of a city than I was more in just sitting in the grass, like just from the soap.
Just a tiny bit of a mineral.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, something rocky, something stony.
Right, like I could play hopscotch there.
Every once in a while, I'd be watching Sesame Street and my parents would burst out laughing and I'd have no idea why. But they would sometimes bake humor for the parents into the Sesame Street sketches, like the cowboy that walks into the bar singing about him and his ex, and a giant X walks in to the bar. And y'all, we are happy to announce that one of our Whiff Pack members, Larry Sablotny, has created his own brand new YouTube channel. And here it is right here on the screen. Go give him a view or a subscribe today if you are so inclined. And while we don't do shaving here on the Barbershop Duet, we thought you might like to see what this lather looks like when it coats and covers the beautiful moneymaker of my beloved wife. Look at that, y'all. Remember when that special house paint came out so you didn't have to paint in coats anymore? Just all went on in one? That's what it is like.
Super slick, super padded. It really does have a good morning kind of a feel to it, doesn't it?
I adore the citrus in this, and that's what's making me think of a beautiful sunrise.
It does have a, I'm just going to go play outside and I have nothing else to worry about kind of vibe.
But here's the thing. And this is probably what you're waiting to hear, in an adult way. If I wore this into the office, nobody would guess that this was a Sesame Street homage. It's too sophisticated. It's too grown up with the oak moss and the other stuff going on in there. The vetiver, come on. But here's the thing. While the set notes might be grown up, the balance isn't. There's something in the clover. There's something in the sweets. There's something in how he put these together that when you look at them from just the right angle, you are back in front of your TV with your bowl of Fruit Loops and your mom making breakfast. That's what this is doing. This is a grown-up look backwards at your childhood, not the other way around. All right, y'all. Oscar the Grouch is giving tours of his basement. Why don't we climb in the trash can, take this a little deep. So I got my first job in the theater when I was 9 years old for Contra Costa Musical Theater's The Music Man. Well, right before my show, they were doing a chorus line. And we went to see it, to see what it was like at the theater, to see what the company was like. And the director, who was going to direct my show, was also there because he directed a chorus line. He recognized me and said, hey, why don't you come backstage for lunch? We're having lunch in between shows. You can meet some of your castmates from The Music Man because they're going to be in it too. Oh. Well, one of the people that I met that day was named Leslie Carrera. She was the biggest ball of energy you could imagine. And when she, at age 18, saw a kiddo in the room, she made a beeline to me and started drawing me pictures in my program and making these impromptu puppets for me and my sister. And she said, on that day, I'm going to be on Sesame Street someday. Well, y'all, fast forward 30 years of incredibly hard and creative work on her part, and Leslie was made a part of the Sesame Street cast and invited to create her own Muppet, who she called Abby Cadabby. Y'all, about 8 years ago, she came home for Christmas, and this is me coming down the stairs from my Christmas show, and she plopped Abby into my arms and then basically disappeared. I didn't even know where she went. And her little butt had weight in my arm, and she looked up at me and just started talking. Y'all, she was the most real thing you could possibly imagine. A creature of pure imagination, puppeted by one of the absolute best in the entire world. And I asked her, Leslie, how many of these are there? And she says, well, there's one for the show, there's one that I can take for personal appearances, and there's one for insurance. The Queen of England held that last week. So y'all, if you suspected that the people on Sesame Street had some of the biggest hearts and biggest imaginations in all of the performing world, you are right. And this scent is a perfect encapsulation of how it felt to hold that little Muppet in my arms. Now, Will and I are the same age, so we're going to have the same shows, but you're a little bit younger. What did you watch in the 90s growing up?
I do remember Sesame Street, but then reading that list earlier that he mentioned, Wishbone, my sister was all about anything with pets, so we watched that one, and I was a big fan of Fraggle Rock, I'm not going to lie.
Wishbone was the little dog that they would put into famous books and like recreate them, right?
Right, and it was a real dog, which is what blew our minds, because we had pets growing up, like, how could this one be acting, you know?
They weren't as careful with my generation. They put George Carlin on Shiny Time Station. Well, I was 9. It was a little weird to be listening to my mother's record collection of the 7 words you can't say on television and then turn on Shiny Time Station. You know what I just got? This is interesting. Maybe a little bit of an homage to Mr. Rogers or Captain Kangaroo. A tiny little wisp of the original 1950s Aquavelva. Tell me I'm crazy.
No, you're not. I think it's the oak moss vetiver kind of thing in there. Like something in that half is the other half
Right.
you'd need to build the other one.
Just a little.
Just a little. But again, that's how you know you can wear that at a board meeting.
Right. My parents used to laugh with their friends because I named my teddy bear Radar and they said it was from Radar on MASH. I don't think they realized that Big Bird named his teddy bear Radar. That's where I got it. Although I did name the girl bear Polyester.
I don't even think I knew how to say that word when I was 5.
Well, I thought polyester. I thought
Oh, I'm with you.
So it's pretty simple, y'all. Just be a little girl living on Sesame Street, and her mom needs a few things for dinner. Loaf of bread, container of milk, and a stick of butter. And you're going to head out on your way down to Mr. Hooper's store. a loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter. A loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter. And just about the time you get to Mr. Hooper's store, you're going to get your own! So head over to barristerandmann.com to find this and a bunch of other cool stuff. Well, I've had my shave, y'all, with Sonny Lane from Barrister and Mann, and I'm happy to report that this is not how my 5-year-old nose remembers Sesame Street, but this is how my 50-year-old nose remembers it as it looks back at it. A perfect representation and a fabulous way to keep my nostalgic side on my shoulder when I do have to go out and do adult things in public, and I am sensing a fabulous minty spine down the center of this that's not on the sales page, it's not on the container, but it is lighting up my inner child in fabulous ways. Thank you, Will and Paula, not just for creating the width and breadth of sense that you do at Barrister and Mann, even the Dr. Seuss one, but for creating what I consider to be my favorite base in the wet shaving world. Thanks, y'all. We will be back. Welcome to Messages.
So for our November giveaway, we wanted to give you a chance to get $25 to Barrister and Mann.
Yeah, y'all, and all you have to do to be eligible for this giveaway is send us an email here to WeSentYou@theBarbershopDuet.com so we can get back to you. It's the only way we communicate about our giveaways, and then check back on our first December episode to see if you are a lucky winner.
Best of luck. I almost get a lemongrass kind of tea. Like there's an herbiness to this that does have a fun side that the more time I spend with this, I know there's only listing 5-cent notes, but how they're coming together, it really is painting a wonderful day outside, sitting, hanging out on the grass, maybe having a picnic, like no worries. So when you need a day like that, this is a good one to get a whiff of.
And as a self-proclaimed Sesame Street enthusiast, this is perfect. It's not too grown up. It's not too childish, but everything going on in those nooks and crannies just screams bright colors and imagination, whisks me back to those fabulous weekends with my mama, who would go back to bed almost immediately after she started the television.
I love knowing that with each purchase, money is going back to Sesame's workshop, which helped inspire this in the first place.
And y'all, Sesame Street's in a little bit of turmoil right now. They can use the dough. So Will and Paula, thank you for being the kind of artist that can deliver Sonny Lane and Leviathan in the same box. The width and breadth of the work you're doing at Barrister and Mann is inspiring, and we are so here for it.
Don't forget your next appointment with the Barbershop Duet.
You'll smell better just watching this.